Howard Beck recently wrote an article and reported that there are 3 or 4 teams, counting the Clippers, that have some interest in James Harden. So we know about the Clippers, but people are having a tough time guessing who the other teams are. So my question to you guys, double question here. What kind of criteria would there be for a team to want to trade for James Harden? And do you guys have any guesses or suggestions of who the other teams may be involved in the James Harden sweepstakes?
Yeah, I think I don't think the trade, how can I say it? I don't think the people wanting James is more of the issue. I think it's more of what the Sixers are wanting in return is the issue. When you sent the questions, I started thinking about some possible teams that I feel that would trade James for James. I just don't think the Sixers would take back what they would offer.
You don't have there's no overlapping ones, like teams that would trade and teams that we would trade for, or teams that we would want to trade with.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we would trade with Portland, but Portland's not doing that. What I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it's teams that we would trade James to. If we got Dame Lillard, Sixers would do it in a heartbeat. Work it however you need to work it. For James. Yeah. But Portland would. That's what I'm saying. I just think it's more teams that would take James and we wouldn't take what they have back versus teams that would, the Sixers would take. I think it's more teams that would take James and the Sixers not liking the deal versus teams that, we would take a deal and they not want James.
Yeah.
Portland.
It's a good mix.
I believe that would take James, but we wouldn't take the deal back. Chicago.
That's one of mine. Yeah.
A team that we haven't talked about, I think, would take James that we wouldn't take anything back is Minnesota.
They're on that list of betting suitors or trade suitors.
Minnesota. I mean, but we're not taking
Conley.
We're not taking Mike back. Obviously, they would take Edwards. You know what I'm saying? But they're not moving him.
Sure.
But they're not moving him. You know what I'm saying? That's Chicago's not moving Levine, but they would move DeMar. But we wouldn't take DeMar. So I was kind of stuck on whether Miami would do it. But
that's my other team.
I think Miami would do it, but if they don't get Lillard, they would do it. But Moore's not going to take Kyle.
You want Hero?
I don't know. I don't know if they would do it. You see what I'm saying?
Who, the Heat or us?
Us.
Yeah. Because
Hero has a deal. He has a long-term deal, so it goes right into what you not trying to do.
Yeah.
So
what I heard that they were willing to package picks with Hero.
I agree with that, but what I'm saying is then everything that you talk about doing as far as saving the salary cap next year is done.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that is Tyler Hero, but is Tyler Hero going to be the guy that you feel is not? Is Tyler Hero going to be the guy that the Sixers are going to abandon the plan for? That's the question I'm asking.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think it's teams that'll take James. I know it's teams that'll take him. I think it's the Sixers that are holding that part up.
Unless you think you can flip Hero, have him have great stats this year, one less year on his contract, and then flip him. His contract's not awful.
Yeah, I mean, you probably think you can, but you don't know because he has to come there and play.
Yeah,
you know what
a lot of variables.
Yeah. So on the surface of teams' criteria, I would say teams, one of these things, either needing a big change, a veteran team who's got a strong group of personalities, either on the roster or at the coach, team in win now mode, a team that needs a floor general point guard to make it easier for their guys to get buckets. For all the teams that are rumored, I picked 3. I went Bulls. Possibility 1 would be Levine. that would be two factors, though. Do the Bulls want to blow it up and clear out their cap space? Because they'd have like $62 million in expiring money between DeRozan and Harden. They'd have like 1 year of still very competitive ball game with that roster with Harden, DeRozan, and Vooch. Harden would make Vooch's life really easy. They'd have a killer pick and roll, actually, those two. We'd have to attach assets to that to get that done for LaVine. And is LaVine the kind of star that Morey wants to give that like assets and that kind of money to? Because, I mean, if he's being picky about cap space, forget about it. I mean, LaVine makes 43 next year. So,
yeah, but we're not getting a free agent of like LaVine in the market.
So, yeah, that all comes. That's what I mean. But if they think they can, I mean, they might be delusional, Eric. So, I mean, I don't know what they're thinking at this point. So, LaVine.
I mean, I'm telling you right now, they can. They're free agents because you're looking at what these young guys are signing for with their own team that probably aren't better than LaVine.
Yeah. And as big as LaVine's contract looks now,
that's what I'm saying. So, how are you going to get those guys? How are you going to get them to leave? How are you going to get them to leave those contracts? The guys that you're saying you want to get.
You'd have to either overpay a player that you really believe in or a guy who is toward the end of his career who wants to partner up with Embiid. Like, for instance,
the younger guys are getting their max.
Yeah, that's the problem. So, for instance, like a Paul George or Kawhi, let's say this year goes bad for the Clippers. One of those guys would be like, look, I want to play with Embiid. You're gonna give me $40 million? I'll play with Embiid. Yes. I'll do that. Embiid.
I can see that. Yes.
So a guy in his mid-30s, trying to go with the same window with Embiid.
But the team that he's with have to not want to pay him. You see what I'm saying?
Or equal money, and at this point, he just thinks it's a better shot with them than he does with the Clippers. I don't know.
Yes, but then we go into where guys want to live if it's equal.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that's the biggest barrier of all, right? If we did LaVine, I went down that road. $43 million next year, Maxi's 13 cap hold, Embiid's 51. We'd have 107 on the books, assuming we would get rid of anyone else with any kind of cap hold, just assuming that. That would leave us with 42 to spend, about 10 to 12 in vet min contracts. That would give us about a $30 million player or like two 15-ish $1 million players. So forget the cap space plan if that's the thing. If you go the DeRozan route, you get a guy who's willing to play here for the year, a non-disgruntled version of James, so to speak. He's making considerably less than James. We maybe even get a pick out of that. So we get an asset and DeRozan. We'd still clear all kinds of cap space. Maybe DeRozan likes it here and signs for less than he did. I mean, he's making 28 this year. Maybe he signs for 22 next year. You could still get a max player in the offseason. That would be the other one, and we still remain competitive this year. So you're not going to Embiid going, well, we got rid of James, we're just punting the season. You wouldn't say that with DeRozan. You're still contending, right? You still contend with DeRozan on the current roster.
Yeah, I believe that. But you're saying that Maxi's your lead guard.
Yeah. Unless you take a flyer on Lonzo Ball and hope he comes back eventually.
I mean, I think he will, but he's not coming back this year.
They said you possibly January, right? February?
He's a trade
for him right now.
That's like what he's hoping for.
Yeah, right? But you can't
count on that. Count on that. Second team, I went off of yours, different than yours. I went the Bucks for this one. This is a team that would possibly maybe want to change it up. I went Drew for Harden. Around the same age, around the same money. He has a player option for next year. Maybe he opts out for a longer term deal. Maybe not. The reason why the Bucks would possibly do it, make Giannis's life easier on offense, give him easier buckets the way they did with Embiid, maybe. Other than that, I don't see why they would do that. just to change it up, maybe. I
And you said they would make that move for who?
Drew.
Drew? No way.
No way.
Just because you can't give them Drew. You can't get a Sixers Drew Holiday.
What do you mean? Oh, you can't
get the Sixers. Yeah, you can't.
They wouldn't want to give us Drew. You're saying
you got to send Drew somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true. That's Drew.
Yeah.
And then the last one, I went Miami. They ever get tired of the whole Blazers fiasco? I started kicking around ideas of Hero. I had not been a Hero fan. Good. He's a good high volume scorer. He's a 3-point shooter. He's done pretty well when they've given him short spurts at lead guard for distributing for people. I'm not saying he's a full-time point guard, but he can take it up and be the lead guard in short spurts with Maxey. We get killed on defense. Our scoring would be incredible, though. Between him and Maxey and Bleav, we'd average like 70 or 80 points a game between those three guys. The money would be pretty good. I know his contract, people complain about it, but once the NBA does that new TV deal and its cap skyrockets, Hero making 27, 28 a year is not going to seem like a lot. It's just not. He's on the hook next year for 29. So if you combine, I went down this road too. So 29 next year with Maxey's 13 cap hold, Embiid. After the vet mins, we'd have about $44 million left to spend. So you could still get your max guy if there's anyone even there, or you get 2 20-somethings instead. So would you rather have LaVine for 43 or a Hero at 29?
LaVine.
Really? Yeah, you didn't think about that, huh?
I think LaVine's the number one guy for us. This maybe we have a chance to get.
Yeah, I'd love that. I mean, I'd love that deal. I think he'd fit.
There's other guys that I would love to have. I just don't think
not realistic, though, right?
It's not realistic.
Yeah, I know.
And he paired well with Maxey.
I think the Bulls are the kind of team that if things go really bad there to start the year and like there's rumors of him being unhappy, that's when they maybe be like, all right, we'll talk. Let's talk. Well, you can give us a Harden and a pick or something like that. I don't know. But I think at that point, they might be more – that's the kind of team that might be more willing to talk once the season gets going and things are bad for them.
Yeah.
Do you have New Orleans? Did New Orleans ever cross your mind? No?
For what, though?
I mean, I think New Orleans can take them, but, I mean –
CJ McCollum?
I don't know if they're going to give up CJ. CJ, I would take CJ for James. I don't think they would – I don't think the Sixers would.
Yeah.
I would. Because I've known CJ since he was a young man, being from the same hometown. But I don't think the Sixers would do that. But I believe New Orleans would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they would. Talk about making guys' lives easier. He would make Zion and Ingram's life easier for sure. Harden would. I think he would gel better with that kind of team too.
He'd be closer to Houston too.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's true.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I don't think we'd take McCollum. I don't think we would.
Yeah, he would be a nice pairing with Maxey though. It's like a kind of a game situation.
I don't know about defensive.
It's the same situation. I mean, that's not like LaVine. He's just an older, I'm just saying. I just think that CJ will be who CJ is with Maxey. He's going to be the same guy. Like he's not going to be any better. He's not going to be any worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he has 3 years left in his contract.
I believe so. Yeah.
The Sixers not going to do that.
Yeah, it doesn't really go with the Morey timeline.
Now, Hero and picks, it's enticing.
I don't know.
Because that cap space plan can still happen. Because you could just trade, you could try to boost Hero's stock and trade him in the offseason for a bigger contract.
And you also traded James to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think with the Hero taking that on, it's more variables that have to work out. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to, put up big numbers. Like you're hoping he kind of boosts his stock a little bit. It's just a lot of more variables, and
Yeah, I mean, if we're making a trade to move the guy to be in the same situation, then why make the trade?
Yeah.
I guess to possibly have more options in the next 6 months to 8 months. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you're basically saying, James not coming back.
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
James not coming back, then Tobias is going to be a free agent. So it's just if you want guys to be free agents, then you're set up for guys to be free agents. Why make a move then?
Yeah,
because they want to. Part of them wants to stay competitive for this season. And if James doesn't show up, we won't be.
Yeah, but that ship has sailed already.
With James on the roster, you mean?
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, we're going to be competitive with him on the roster. Whether he plays or not, we can be competitive. We just, the odds of us getting past second round and winning championships aren't very high. We can be competitive. But amending that relationship, I don't. That's not happening.
Yeah,
and I'm talking about with James showing up to camp. That relationship is severed.
Yeah.
Gosh. Hopefully the Clippers, put Man and Boston in that trade and give some trade.
Someone to publicly call you out as a liar, publicly saying he never want to be like that's. You don't recover from that. That's bygones gonna be bygones, but you're not. That's never gonna be the same.
Yeah. Maybe in like 10 or 20 years, they do like an anniversary of that Houston Rockets team that almost won it.
It won't be the same then either.
Yeah.
I mean, just because people, I'm sure everyone's been in a room and can converse with someone that they don't really care for.
Yeah. You just get along.
You
make
can
it through that
be in the
event.
same room. You can be in the same room.
Yeah.
I don't mean you like them. Some marriages like that.
Oh yeah.
But do you think that's more from James' side or Morey's side? Like if Morey traded James next week, you think James would still be like, "I'm still done with you," or you think Morey would be like, "Nah, man"?
I think James has an interest in dealing with him because I firmly believe that James felt like he made more, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So, my opinion.
That aspect too, yeah.
My opinion, from all I've done for you to help your career. Yes, you got me out of Oklahoma City, but it wasn't like you were the only one. But for what I've done for your career, this is where we are. This is just me, in my opinion, talking as if I'm James.
Yeah.